YouTube and welcome to Theater Talk. For today's Theater Talk video, I have a review of a show for you. I haven't had a show review in a very long time because of the pandemic and not being able to go see shows, but today I have a review of Brilliance at the Players Theater here in New York City. I was invited to see this show by David from the marketing team, so thank you so much for reaching out. He saw my review of Puffs that I did at New World Stages in like 2019, way before the pandemic, and asked if I wanted to come see the show, and I said yes, of course, I'd love to see some new theater in New York. So me and Sean went to go see it last night, April 7th, for opening night. And it was great to be in the audience with everybody's friends and family and supporters and have that kind of energy going into the opening night of the show. So let's talk about it. If you're new here, hello, my name is Tori Cyclic. Welcome to my channel. If you want to check out any of my other videos, I do other videos like this, sit down videos, kind of talking about life, things, shows, things like that, as well as vlog style videos discussing what's going on in my daily life. My life as a musical theater actress here in New York City. If you want to check that out, go ahead and subscribe down below. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at tss6295, where I post about my daily life as well as dancing all over my TikTok. So if you want to go check that out, they are all in the description down below. Now, let's get into this review. Brilliance is a new musical in 2 acts written by Lance Luman, Christian King, and Gabriel Kane, and it's based on the life of 1940s actress Frances Farmer, discussing her struggles with fame, fortune, Hollywood, mental health, all that kind of stuff. I never actually heard of the actress Frances Farmer before, so for me it was very educational to learn a bit about her life, her struggles, what she did as a performer through this show and through their storytelling of it. I'd also never seen a show at the Players Theater before, so it was nice to go see a new theater space in the city. It's located on McDougal Street in Greenwich Village. It's a nice little black box space. I feel like the theater allows you to kind of do whatever you want in the space. It has a really good lighting system, a good playing space for the actors, and a good space for the audience as well. So I enjoyed being in a different space for theater and seeing it in a smaller setting as well. I think it works really well for the show. To start off with, this show has a lot of material in it because there are so many different aspects of Frances Farmer's life that they wanted to tell in the story. And I think that the actors did really well with how much material they had, especially Frances and her mother. Bethany McDonald, who played Frances, was great. I really loved her voice. She has a very kind of classic new musical theater sound to her voice, which is very pingy and clear, but I feel like it really fits with the 1940s Hollywood starlet kind of vibe of her character. There's a lot for her to be doing on stage as Frances, with fight choreography, dance choreography, storytelling, emotional shifts, and I think she handled it really well, and it felt like she really grew with the character throughout the entire show. Jerry Sager, who plays Lillian, who's Frances's mom, I think she did fantastic as well. She has a really great presence on stage. She also has some Broadway experience too, and you can really see that in her performance. Her voice is very powerful and strong, and she really commands the space too. She had a lot to work with the anger and frustration of the character of Lillian, but I feel like she also brought in a lot of humor to the character as well, and really showed the balance between those shifts and had a lot of different changes between every different scene that she was in, and bringing something new to the character for each scene that she was in. I really enjoyed that, and it made me very invested in wanting to see her story, see her interactions with Frances. I thought the two of them together especially were fantastic. Bethany and Jerry as Frances and Lillian respectively, I feel like they had a really great connection on stage. It really felt like a very strong mother-daughter relationship, and they had 2 really great songs in the show where they had strong vocal lines, the harmonies were really tight, the emotions were there, the storytelling was there. You could tell that they had done a lot of work on this character relationship that they built together and making sure that it was believable and real, and I really felt that while I was watching it. Another standout from the cast was Daniel Bowe as multiple characters, but specifically in his role as William Bill Anderson. He's mostly in this role of Bill in the first act and then shifts into other featured ensemble characters in the second act, but in his role of Bill, I really liked all of the choices that he made. I felt like they were very strong, distinct, clear choices of who Bill was as a character, his relationship with Frances, as meeting her, becoming her husband, their relationship growing, changing, falling apart, all that kind of stuff. I feel like he really understood that part of the story and really brought it to life. He had a great monologue in the middle of Act 1 that I felt like was very important to the story, and I really enjoyed watching, and I felt like he had strong emotional shifts in there and showing his emotions towards Frances and their whole situation going on. I thought it was great. Also, his featured number in the beginning of Act 1, which is also the title song of the show, Brilliance, I thought was a real standout too. Him, the ensemble, Frances, all of them together, I thought were fantastic. He sounded great vocally. They both sounded great singing. There was a little tap number in there as well. I thought it was great. It was really fun, very cute. Loved it. I really enjoyed the comedy of the scenes between David John Phillips as Zucker and Julia Feinberg as Les, a studio executive in 1940s Hollywood, and his assistant. I feel like it helped to break up some of the darker and heavier material in the show by having comedy thrown in, and I really enjoyed what they did with it. They had really great physical comedy with them through choreography and some of the dance numbers that they were doing, and just kind of their interactions together. I feel like they meshed really well in that. Julia Feinberg also had another really great featured moment in Act 2 as Sadie alongside Sarah Mossman as Clara. They were 2 girls who were in the mental hospital ensemble with Frances in the second act of the show. They had a really great song, the three of them, Bethany McDonald as Frances, Sarah Mossman as Clara, and Julia Feinberg as Sadie, that me and Sean really loved. Like, he leaned over to me after that song was finished and said that was my favorite song in the show, and I totally agree with him because it had really tight harmonies, beautiful. It was just a nice break from some of the heavier stuff in the second act of the show as well. A lot of lightness and hope in there too, and I loved it. I thought that number in particular was a real standout in the show. There's a small ensemble in the show, and I feel like they were used a lot more effectively in Act 2. I feel like the storytelling kind of lent to that a bit more in Act 2. Act 1 was focused a lot more on Frances and establishing that part of her life, her storyline with her mom, showing how she grows and changes to where she gets to in Act 2. And I feel like the bringing in the ensemble more in Act 2 helped to foster that story a lot more. I also felt like all of the women in the show were very strong. They were very committed to what they were doing on stage, their storytelling, their characters, the changes they had to make between all of the different scenes they were doing. I really enjoyed watching all of them on stage be so committed to the roles. There's one member of the ensemble that really stood out, but in a very positive way for me, and her name is Gabrielle Larios. She served as the dance captain for the show, and you could tell that she is a dancer, very confident in what she was doing on stage. She made some very strong choices in all of the ensemble scenes that pulled focus, but in a very positive way, because it helped to tell the story a lot further. Like, there's a scene in Act 1 where all of the girls in this Hollywood studio are in a class learning about 1940s makeup, and she is like distinctly looking at her face very closely to the mirror. The other girls are making some different choices, but she decided to go a little bit further with it, and I was like, oh, okay. It shows a different kind of approach to what the other girls are doing on stage. And then there was another scene where they were newscasters or news reporters at a movie opening, and she made some very strong choices interacting with Frances. I just felt like it helped to really enforce some of the storytelling, and I was like, that's a very strong ensemble choice, and I really like it. There were a couple technical things that I know will be fixed as the run of the show continues. One of them was sound balancing. The live band that they had sounded great and played the music great, but they were quite a bit loud compared to the actors. It might have been that they were bringing in mics at different times, things like that, or just not projecting loud enough over the band. It took me a little bit out of the show because I was like trying really hard to focus on what was happening at the beginning of a song where they were starting to sing and I couldn't totally hear them, but as it got into the song, it got fixed. So I think just kind of figuring out those transitions between song starting, bringing the band out, and bringing the actors in will be fixed over time. And another one was scene changes. They just ran a little bit long sometimes because they had these big flats in the back that rotated for each different scene they were doing. I really like that idea of not having to fly in a different thing every time. They just kind of rotated the set, but maneuvering that alongside bringing in some couches that were a lot bigger or tables that were bigger took a little bit of time. But again, I think as the show keeps continuing its run, those will tighten up a lot more and take off some time from the show too. Overall, for a brand new show in New York that is packed with storytelling and packed with songs, I thought it was great. It was a really great time. It was fun to see a new show come to life in the city, as well as some difficult material in there as well that I feel like the actors handled really well. And the songs were great. I felt like it was a fun, cute little show that has a lot of potential and a lot of room for growth. And I think it'll be really fun to see its journey as it goes. So those are my thoughts on Brilliance at the Players Theater here in New York City. If you want to go see the show, I'm going to include information down below to go to their website to go and buy tickets. The show is running from April 7th to April 24th. So go make sure you go check it out and support live theater, brand new live theater in New York City. Thank you again to David from the marketing team for inviting me to come see the show. I had a great time and I hope the rest of the run goes really, really well. Thank you so much for watching DFTBA, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.